Hi, I'm Dr Ferhan Ahmed. Now, there's an 8 out of 10 chance that you're here today because someone I'm mentoring has referred you to me. So you probably have a fair idea of who I am and my reputation in the field of full arch surgery. If you're new to me, then you can read my backstory below this video and check out the testimonials of people saying predictably nice things about me. Listen, I'm not here to pitch you on signing up for my full arch surgery course. As a fellow professional, I know that with the right information to hand, you are fully capable of making an accurate and well-informed decision about what's best for you. So, in the next few minutes, I'm simply going to share some information with you. This is the information that I myself would be considering if I were in your shoes today. Which in fact I was just a few short years ago, when I embarked on the same exciting journey that you're considering right now. When I think about it, arriving at a yes or no decision boils down to getting answers to just 3 questions. The first question I'd be asking myself is full arch surgery where I want to be? For me, there's a one-word answer to that question: growth. Now, I'm thinking about 2 different types of growth here. First, financial growth. You see, I predict that there's going to be an explosive growth in implant surgery over the next 10 years. Which means that strategically, full arch surgery is going to be a great career move for anyone savvy enough to see what's happening and who wants to optimise their income earning potential. We'll look at what I think is going to be responsible for that explosive growth in a minute. It's something that you're probably not aware of, as hardly anyone in our profession is paying any attention to the big macroeconomic picture. So hardly anyone has noticed a convergence of 2 fascinating facts that make explosive growth for the dental implant market inevitable. We'll come back to that in a second, but first let's look at this other type of growth I'm referring to. Because for me, this type of growth is just as important as financial growth. I'm talking about personal growth. For me, personal growth has always been at the heart of my decision making. It's why, after I qualified as a dentist, I put my life back on hold while I went back to school to study and work for 17 to 90 hours a week for 4 grueling years to qualify as a doctor. It was during this time I found my professional role models, a specific group of people that I aspire to be like: surgeons. On a minute-by-minute basis, often for hours at a time, I witnessed surgeons doing really hard stuff, and I was mesmerised at how they performed in such a cool, calm and collected way. I saw how these remarkable people had risen to the pinnacle of one of the most difficult professions. To me, they were the ultimate professionals. And that's why, when I came back to dentistry after qualifying as a doctor, I decided to immerse myself in the field of implant dentistry, because implant dentistry is what I considered to be the pinnacle of our profession. I desperately wanted to acquire the skill that could create the kind of impact I saw this surgery making on someone like Sheila. Sheila was the first full arch patient I assisted my mentor with. The transformation I witnessed was nothing short of miraculous, and the pictures she later shared with us of her smiling from ear to ear on photo after photo at her daughter's wedding, when she'd previously fought back even a grin at my mentor's best jokes, were magical. There are millions of Sheilas and Stephens in the UK, millions of middle-aged people that are outliving their teeth and would love a transformation like Sheila. And, just as importantly, they're soon going to be able to afford it. Let's look at why by considering the 2 fascinating facts I mentioned earlier. Fact 1. The 50+ age group is exploding. Look at this. In 1981, there were 14.6 million people over 50 in the UK. By 2001, there were 16.4 million people over 50. That's a 12.5% increase in just 20 years. But that's nothing compared to what happened in the next 20 years. By 2021, the number of over 50s had risen to 21.4 million. So in the last 20 years, the over 50s market has increased by a massive 30.5%. And by 2031, 5 out of every 10 adults in the UK will be over 50. So the size of the market for implant surgery really is growing exponentially. Fact 2. The over 50s are experiencing an inheritance bonanza. Recent statistics also reveal that on average, the over 50s are now inheriting 4 times more money than under 50s. And whilst most money inherited by younger people gets swallowed up in things like deposits for a home or paying down debt, When an inheritance windfall drops into the over 50s bank account, it is largely disposable and available to spend on anything they want, including a movie star smile. So when you see graphs like this showing implant surgery growing by 9.75% per year, you can see that it's not just the exciting advancements in dental technology that are making this growth possible, there is also some strong socioeconomic psychology to support the prediction. So if growth, both financial and professional, is on your mind right now and full arch surgery has caught your interest like it did mine, then your thoughts might reasonably turn to the second question, which is Ferhan the right mentor for me? Now, I want to give you a genuinely unbiased answer to that question. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned about choosing mentors to accelerate growth throughout my career. Over the years, I've personally had 11 mentors and I've gained value from every one of those mentors. But the relationships that created the biggest impact for me all shared the same 7 characteristics. Firstly, the person that mentored me was always remarkable. Yes, they were known, their faces and names were often recognisable, but they'd gained that recognition and attention not through shameless self-promotion, but by being genuinely impressive and actually doing the kind of great work that caused people to remark on it, which is the true meaning of the word remarkable. If you asked around, people would know who they were simply because of their reputation for doing great work. So even though every one of my mentors had a brag-worthy reputation, they were notably humble about their achievements, preferring to let the people they'd impacted spread the word for them. My best mentors were also great role models. Of course, they were impressive because of the results they achieved. But just as importantly, my mentors impressed me personally with their values, their integrity, their professionalism, their communication skills, the passion they had for their subject, and even their wider philosophy on life. My best mentors have all been walking, talking examples of what it takes to be a better human being. I also noticed that not one of my mentors was an Einstein. The best mentors weren't naturally gifted. They weren't a Usain Bolt or a Susan Boyle or an Einstein. My mentors had worked with whatever little talent or natural ability they were born with, and they'd become exceptional through sheer hard work, determination, and persistence. Which was great because I knew that if my mentor had been able to do it, so could I. Because 90% of the success I'd had was down to hard work, determination, and persistence too. Do you recognise yourself in what I'm saying? Are we cut from the same cloth? If you and I were sat across from each other right now, would we be laughing and maybe even shedding a tear when we swap stories about what we've gone through to get to where we've got to today? If you think we would, then I can't help but wonder about what stories we might be able to tell together in the near future if I had the opportunity to mentor you at this point in your professional journey. Another thing I noticed is that all of my mentors had a high degree of cognitive empathy. They didn't just tell me what to do, they were able to relate to my unique situation, environment and circumstances, and understand precisely where I was on my own journey. They were able to connect with how I was thinking and exactly how I was feeling as I took each new step into the unknown. A lot of successful people can't do that. Success changes them. It goes to their head. They lose touch with where they came from and who they once were. So in spite of what they've achieved, they don't make good mentors. My best mentors all had what the psychologists call this cognitive empathy. They were able to take a step back and see the world through the eyes of a newbie again, which meant my mentors were able to help me maximize my progress by being right there alongside me. So I never felt overwhelmed or out of my depth or unnecessarily stressed. I also noticed that my mentors were enthusiastic about teaching. Whenever I spent time with these mentors, I always felt like that the time they spent together was as precious to them as it was to me. They clearly loved teaching. They loved sharing their knowledge. You could sense it in every interaction we had. They actually got a thrill from being part of someone else's growth, and they were great cheerleaders too, urging me on when I needed a push and enthusiastically celebrating with me as my skills developed and I experienced yet another success. You could tell that they treated the opportunity to mentor others as a great privilege, just as I do myself now. The mentors I chose all had an impressive trajectory. They had been able to make the journey I was making and achieve the goals I was chasing in an impressively short time frame. I believe that one of the main reasons that I've been able to achieve exponential growth myself is because my mentors have all had an exponential growth mindset. This, along with a strong bias for taking action, is what I believe makes success and an inviolable track record inevitable. You see, what I've observed is that a mentor can usually only help you get results at the same rate at which they achieve those results themselves. And this is why I readily share my own financial results with people I mentor. I want my fellow dental professionals who are just a few small steps behind me to see with their own eyes the kind of growth that can occur and the results that can be achieved, both personal and financial, when you adopt the same exponential growth mindset that my mentors encouraged in me and I now encourage in others. And finally, what I noticed is that my best mentors were all pace setters. Not one of my mentors had reached the end of the road. Each one was on a journey themselves, still learning, still growing, still hungry, still setting goals and stretching themselves. Me, I always want to be working alongside someone that's still setting the pace by showing me what they are capable of today. So if you join my inner circle, you'll see me regularly sharing my personal goals and the progress I'm making towards achieving them. Just like one of the huge goals I'm working on right now, which is to double the number of female dentists undertaking implant surgery. As a father of a daughter who told daddy she wanted to do surgery, I was shocked when I discovered that although pretty much half of qualifying dentists are now female, just 1 in 5 undertake implant surgery. Identifying and helping to create a pathway that enables more female dentists to make this career move has become one of my lifetime goals. I won't achieve this goal overnight, but I'm committed to being someone who helps make it happen. So I'm undertaking hundreds of hours of research to not only understand the challenges and obstacles that face our female colleagues, but to also figure out practical solutions that will one day make it a reality. So now we're down to the final question, which is, will I get a good enough ROI from my investment in your mentorship? Of course, as entrepreneurial professionals, the return on investment question should be at the heart of every decision we make. In this instance, I believe the answer is very straightforward. In fact, as I see it, the only way you could fail to get a positive return would be if you simply didn't use the skills you're going to acquire from me. Because if you did use these new skills, then obviously, with just 1 or 2 patients, you'd very easily get a 100% return on your investment. What constantly surprises me though is when I hear about some of our fellow dentists who have attended yet another training without a clear idea or plan for how they are going to implement what they've invested time and money to learn. I call this just in case learning. Now, for some people, learning for learning's sake might actually be the goal, like a weird hobby, like if a train driver's hobby was train spotting. But if learning isn't a hobby for you and the reason you invest in training is because you really want to make your mark in dentistry, if growth is your thing, if you prefer action taking over action faking, then here's why you can be certain that you'll get an excellent return on investment from our relationship. You see, not only am I going to show you how to confidently do full arch surgery, but I'm also going to work with you to show you how to get all the patients you need so you can be as busy as you want doing full arch surgery. Now, getting busy is obviously important from a financial point of view, but I think it's also important that you have the capability to get busy, because the reality is getting busy is inevitably the only way you can get really good at full arch surgery and ultimately develop that remarkable reputation that I spoke about earlier. Now today, I set out to provide you with information that would help you decide if full arch surgery is right for you. We've seen how and why full arch surgery can satisfy both our financial and professional growth goals. I share my experience of working with my own mentors and how all of those experiences have shaped my approach to mentoring. So you now know exactly what you can expect from a mentoring relationship with me. And finally, you know that by choosing me as your mentor, I'm also going to show you how to get busy doing full arch surgery. So now the decision is over to you. You can take the first step in what I can promise will be an exciting journey together by clicking on the enrolment button below.